Welcome to Business Authority Radio, bringing you insights from today's thought leaders, professionals, and influencers. With your hosts, Neil Howe and Craig Williams.
Welcome to another edition of Business Authority Radio. This edition, I would like to say it's an international edition, one of our first, actually. I have Jerry Wesley of the NPBS. He's the chairman, CEO, and founder, visionary behind this this alliance he's built with Nigeria, his hometown, his home country, and the public servants there, the police department. And there's a lot of jobs and opportunity that will grow from this alliance. Yes, I did say Nigeria. There has been that paradigm or that lens that us Americans, I know for me as well, when we think of Africa and then we think of Nigeria, it usually has that negative connotation.
Right.
But we forget why. The numbers of the actual population there is the perspective is so much greater. Right. We forget how small the U.S. is to the continent of Africa, much less the countries within it. Right. And when we look at what we've been fed in the media over the years, that's what's so exciting for me about this episode. We get to talk. We get to peel back a little bit more of what's the difference between fact and truth, or reports of media that we understand and what the truth is about that. So, Jerry, I want you to start by telling me a little bit about your background,
right?
How you got into this, some of it, because there is some supernatural things that seem to be happening by the moment. We're here in Vegas right now, and we just got to experience an incredible crowdfunding conference that basically brought minds from all over the world together to talk about how we can support initiatives that we believe in and not using the traditional way of investment. And that's what's so exciting about not only technology, but the day that we're in now. And here at Business Authority Radio, we speak to those leaders of industries, those people who are leading, the pioneers, the early adopters, but also the people who are actually paving the way out there with the machete, making the way for those of us who have to come behind. And once again, I want to introduce to you all Jerry Wesley. Jerry.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Jerry Wesley. I always like calling my old name Edwin Jerry Wesley.
Edwin
Jerry Wesley.
Awesome.
I'm from Nigeria. I'm from Delta State. I lived overseas for over 25 years of my life. So I had dual citizenship. I'm British and Nigerian. I studied mechanical engineering. I went overseas to Italy. I spent a couple of years in Italy, and as well about 15 years anyway, and moved to UK and spent another couple of about 10 years in there.
There, yeah.
So with that, I decided to say, let me go back home and see how I can contribute back to the society in the continent of Africa and start up with Nigeria, because we always have the saying that when Americans sneeze, the world feels it.
Yes.
So we always have the saying as well that if Nigeria sneezes, Africa feels it.
Gotcha.
So
great perspective there.
See, I decided to say, yeah, I've got to go back and see what I can do. So when getting back home, I started with all the businesses I had into real estate, affordable housing estate developer in Nigeria. And as well, I run other stuff like Skyteak International. I have another company called Esino Nigerian Limited, which is into real estate. I have EcoStream as well. So we keep running all this stuff, but I keep seeing a lot of challenges in terms of insecurity. And way back in Europe, you see a lot of scam mails coming in. saying, I have.
I've gotten some of those emails. Yeah.
My father left about $15 million.
Yep.
I have $200 million in one bank, and we just need somebody, blah, blah, blah. I'm the next of king, and I can have access to the funds and all.
Yes, yes.
So all this stuff was happening. So it gets frightening to me. And I remember one time in UK, I had a fund that came into my account. I think it's about £1 million plus, and that was with Barclays Bank. And I called up. I said, I had a call that came in to my call. I was in the UK and said, "Are you expecting X amount of money?" I said, "No." And they said X amount of money came. I said, "Block it." So somebody was trying to use my account for something else.
Yeah.
And I said, "Block it." So, and I get all the spam mails and thinking that was a joke before, until a lot of friends keep getting the same stuff, and we keep talking about it. So when I got back to Africa, I was saying a lot of things that were happening. And I said, wow, this is one of it. They have the kidnapping issue. They have the religious problem. Mm-hmm. So you have ethnic problems. So there's so much
unrest
that was happening.
Yeah.
Then you have the Niger Delta coming up with stuff that polluting their water. These are stuff that's happening from the oil companies. You have in the north where you have the insurgent coming in, operating and burning people's houses and all stuff just for the fact of one belief they have.
Yes, yes.
So all this were happening. People, lack of job. People are thinking about how to make money one way or the other. Fast way of being kidnappers, being whatever, armed robbers and all stuff. And I said, well, in between that, I saw people going from the border, trying to travel overseas for greener pastures anyway, and going through the sea in Libya, dying, women dying, pregnant women, children, all going through this, the sink on the sea. And I look at all these that are happening. How do I give back to the society? What can I do? I always like using the stuff that when you're over 50, the clock starts going backward.
Yeah.
So then I said, okay, what can I do? So I decided to start having this dream, and the Lord put this into my mind. And I started having this vision. The Lord kept giving me back into this. And that was way back in 2012. Mm-hmm. 5 years along the line, we had the Inspector General of Police, Idris, who came on board and said, look, this, we have to sign it. This is going to make a difference in the continent.
So you're saying there's a leader, an individual in the police system, because we have chiefs here, and it's more of municipalities, the cities. So how is it over there? Tell me a little bit about the infrastructure of how leadership works over there.
Okay, the police, you have a police of about 450,000 policemen. One is a superior, just like you have the president.
So you have one chief of over almost 500,000 police. Wow.
In Nigeria.
No wonder I could see how corruption can move real fast if the leader, if it's top down, one CEO, one president, and he's over 500,000. Jeez.
So you have that. And we had so much that was happening there. The police, they try to do a community policing, just like you have state policing in the US.
Yeah.
But there they have national police.
Okay.
So you don't have a state police. They've been crying they want a state police, but they said no because of politics.
Yes.
People want to go on election and say, okay, because I can use the power of my state.
So instead of having, a city, so obviously these are like the sheriff. I mean, you have a sheriff here that has more, they have a geography that they're over outside of their maybe county or whatever. Wow, So with that, we made a proposal to a couple of chiefs, if I should use the word chief. Now, we had we call it Inspector General of Police, IGP. Inspector General of
Idris.
Police. Gotcha.
So we wrote the proposal, which have been just a reminder, which have been in the system from 2012, and they've done all stuff they need to do in terms of vetting, And after all, he signed it up and said, well, because he himself has worked with the United Nations for 10 years. So he believed overseas and see the
So he had a different perspective.
Power of media.
Yeah.
What the power of media could do, how he can help. We had a presentation with the Governors Forum. We have 36 state governors. We had a presentation with them. They love it. But one of them says something that gone are the days that people are going around with guns.
Yes.
Media is powerful. It's the tool that you can, it's more than the gun.
The media is more powerful than the gun. You heard it here, folks. The media is more powerful than the gun.
So we had all these meetings and said, well, one of the reason of that meeting was to get support in terms of financial support. And they were happy that such is happening in Nigeria, in the continent of Africa, and that is going to blow across the globe and make a difference and try to keep people safe in terms of lives and property, investment and investors coming in.
Because if there's no peace or peace of mind, no matter where you are, it's going to affect the revenues of any business, because there's a lack mentality that sneaks in even in an abundant environment like the U.S.
You're right.
If there's no security, we just had a breach in our security just recently in digital, not going to bring up the name, but there was a breach in a security, and security is very important. Every level of security is better.
Yeah, I try to make something understand for people to understand. Like, look, this is security. I say, security. When somebody asks, I said, in Nigeria they're having all this stuff, and I ask people, but people live there.
Yes, it's human beings. Yeah, people.
And you don't take a little bit of it and just say everybody's bad.
Yes.
So that's where the media comes up as power.
There you go.
I was discussing with a couple of friends the other day. I said, people like T.D. Jakes, Bishop T.D. Jakes comes to Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
I think he has a program this year as well. In Nigeria.
Yes.
People like Pastor Eddie Long.
The late pastor,
Then people like Claffy Dollar comes into Nigeria to preach all the time.
Yes.
So they can tell you a little bit about it. They've been there a couple of time over the years.
Yes.
They have a couple of them, Maurice Serilo, who comes into Nigeria. And so I said, well,
if it was so insecure.
The media can do two things for you.
Yes.
The media can kill your country. The media can build your country.
Yes.
The media can bring both parties, the Americans, the Europeans, or whatever part of the world together and make it a safe place.
And that's exactly what we're doing here at Business Authority Radio. So don't get it twisted, folks out there. We are here to bring all humanity together. And we do that, of course, in America through commerce. That's what we utilize media to promote commerce and revenues. But it's not for the empowerment for the few. It's for the empowering all.
That's right.
Yes.
One part of it, again, that I love, again, is that when I talked about this concept about this NPBS, it's about giving the voice to the voiceless.
Yes.
For a lot of people does not know their right, even in Africa. And that's where Switzerland comes into play, in partnership and stuff like this. For you to know your right.
Yeah.
And as well, giving a right for the police over there to know their right.
Exactly.
And know what to do right and how to bring the community back together.
Most definitely. And I think that's where it starts. I mean, I'm a former, and once a fireman, always a fireman or a public servant.
Right.
And I see that if the public safety of a nation, a municipality, when it comes to the security of a nation or a body of people has issues as we have here in the United States, and we don't bring attention to it quickly, proactively, and not a them and us, you're going to have problems with every aspect of that community, every aspect of growth possibilities.
Right. That's why when we talk about the radio, the part of the media of the radio part is going to in the 36 states you have in the country, speaking on local languages.
Yes.
Getting the people in the suburb to understand what is coming up, what is happening in terms of security, how to know your right, how to know where to leave, where to go, where not to go. When tourists or wherever investors are coming into the country, we want to make it a platform where they can say, okay, I can vet, I can listen, I can go back to the archive and see what is happening in the past period or year.
So this is not traditional, like we've grown to understand traditional media, the channel of radio or podcast or TV or any type of medium, whether it be print or digital, right. It's going to be on demand there as well as it is here in the States. Yeah, so people have access to the resources they need to understand real time of what's going on in that. And we forget here in the States, we have municipalities too, but a lot of our music or content is syndicated across the nation. Right. Whereas there's different cultures over in Africa and the continent, and there is different understanding. So these different municipalities have to have a governing body of understanding of the content as well. Right. Yeah, yeah.
So, the continent has different culture.
Yes, yes.
Now, we bringing back this culture. Marrying the culture with the Western culture, but bringing the good part of it.
Yes, the good part of it.
To make the difference.
Yes.
So when you make the difference at that, people want to come, oh yeah, I used to know that. Somebody said, I used to know when, way back in 40 years back.
Yes, yes.
How Nigeria used to be. That's how the dollar and the naira.
Yes.
The difference.
Well, that's the way it was. I mean, when people think about New York City 30, 40 years ago, it's different than what it is now.
Sure.
So it's the same idea.
Sure. So,
yeah.
So people always want to say, what went wrong? So my problem is that we're thinking about what went wrong
back then, yeah.
But let's think about how to solve the problem now and move the nation, the continent forward.
That is amazing, because it seems as though, and when I thought I understood what this organization was about, I was saying, wait a minute, this seems like something the United States needs to be teaching other countries, especially Nigeria. And so I'm excited to hear that someone is looking at their authority and saying, hey, this is broke about it. We have a solution. Let's look at what works. Hey, this part, using media in the United States has worked for and against. Right. But we're not going to work on we're not going to deal with the negative. Right. We're going to embrace there you go, the solution side of it. And we're going to take that and bring it over here and start with the security, because we know if we have security, there is less insecurity, and we can build healthy relationships in the business, in the community from there.
I look at life as that the solution to any problem in this world is in man.
Yes.
God has given it to one person around you that you might just be, you never believe he has it.
Yes.
And that same person might never know that he has it until he has to refine himself, go through that stuff that sometimes you go through, that think tank. Yes. And said, oh, think outside the box.
Yes.
That's where people like Bill Gates did it.
Yes.
The election of the United States just happened not quite long. But a lot of people say, how did it happen?
Media.
It's the media.
We've been able to.
The media can take you up there. The media can bring the government down.
Yes.
And that's what the challenges you're seeing right now is happening.
Yeah.
The tool of the media is the face of tomorrow.
Wow. You talked about it being more powerful than the gun. The gun seems to be more of a tool of force, whereas the media has become the tool of true power.
Yeah, if you look at a society in the United States, maybe in New York, maybe in Chicago, maybe in Atlanta, Georgia, maybe in Vegas, you could find that if the media educate the society very well and push the force of the media into the system,
a transformation will come. That's it. That's it.
And people would just be surprised. But that's the power behind the media.
Yes, yes. We are here with Jerry Wesley of NPBS. He's the chairman and CEO of a great organization in Nigeria. He's come many hours to join us. Tell us a little bit of what the acronym NPBS stands for.
NPBS means Nigerian Police Broadcasting Service.
Wow. Yeah. So do you have a media background? I understand you were an engineer at one time. You've been in real estate. In both of those both of those industries, you need media to help. You know, on the engineering side, there's white papers and studies that help, that are put out there so people have a reading and understanding of it. You use media to promote growth and accomplishments in those industries. Of course, in real estate, you promote the properties.
Right.
Yeah. So what other media background do you have for you to be into, radio and TV and digital media?
What I say is that, I call myself an entrepreneur because I had other company who did security equipment for the presidency, the Office of the National Security Advisors, and all other part of
it. All comes together now.
So
I understand now. Yeah.
Now, trying to solve a problem in terms of getting equipment, going to your partners overseas and see, hey, this is the problem they're having. How do I get in to solve this problem? How do we come to the table to come and bring up a solution?
Mm-hmm.
There was a period that you had a lot of bombing happening in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So it's just regular every week. So you're having bombs in this plot, the other pad. So I think about how do I work something out? And we work with foreign bodies, companies to supply security equipment and all stuff in there. So in that aspect of it, so many people might, continent or government or wherever might spend a lot of money in getting equipment. But if you have the media,
yes,
spending a little money or time of advert or wherever, educating the society.
Yes.
You'll find out that you don't need to spend that money in buying in millions of dollars, acquiring equipment to come and install, to do this or do that, because the media will educate the system and the brain set will change.
Yes.
And you start thinking differently.
Access to knowledge and understanding. You're spot on. I mean, we take things like National Geographic, the channels, A&E, these educational platforms that teach history,
right,
to remind us or educate us on our own history,
right,
and they've become so passé now that there are so many other channels that focus on other things that aren't as fruitful to our beingness as humans.
The 2017 National Security Summit happened in Abuja. The American ambassador was there. A lot of other diplomat was there.
Mm-hmm.
And when they came to the stand and people heard about NPBS.
Yes.
And go through the magazines and read through it. So, whoa, this is what they need now in the continent. And this is one they need in the world.
Yes.
Some say in the world. Some says in the continent. Yeah. Because the problem of insecurity is all over the world. Yes. The challenges of Okada, Boko Haram, and all, it's all over the world.
Yes, it is.
So when you're thinking about today, they're thinking about tomorrow.
Yes.
When you have one step, they go two steps.
Yes.
So we had to come up together and said, okay, how do I come about this to make it happen? And we have in 2019, they have an election in Nigeria. Nigeria has over 180 million people.
Wow.
So now how do I...
That's more than half the population of the United States.
So how do I educate the system?
Yeah.
How do I contribute to the system? Grants can come from different part of the world to them, but how do you make the election being very transparent?
Yes, yes.
And for people know they're right, and said, okay, the media is my tool.
Yeah, yeah.
You have the WhatsApp, you have the BB.
Yes, yes.
People are using Instagram, wherever, Twitter.
Yes.
So those are part of media.
Yes, yes.
To make it happen. So now I thought about it. Said, okay, before the election comes in 2019, Lord help me to get this on board.
Gotcha.
So that's what we're working towards on 28th of November on the launch of the NPBS proper. If you go on the website, you might not see so much now because there's a bag boys working on the background on it to establish it. By the 1st of November, some of them will start pumping out.
Well, this is an evergreen conversation. So by the time most ears hear this, they will have gone through a lot of changes by then. So
Sure.
So I'm glad you brought that up. So how do we learn more about NPBS?
Yeah. To learn more about NPBS, it's going to be online. A lot of stuff is going to be updating in the online once we.
And you have a number of different URLs. So, and this will be on the show notes. I'll make sure that this is on the show notes. Cool. But are there any specific ones you want to announce right now that .coms, .us, .gs? It's a little different over there.
Yeah, you have NPBS, www.npbs.gov.ng.
.ng, and NG stands for Nigeria.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the major side. Then you're gonna have like people sending email and info at npbs.gov.ng as well.
Gotcha.
Then you have news coming up. So right now we're going. My staffs are going around doing a survey.
Yes.
And everybody was like, wow.
Yes.
The police can tell the story.
Yes.
About what they're doing right.
Yeah.
And the public could tell their story as well where the police is going wrong.
Yes.
So everyone had to compliment himself, but try to make it right.
Yeah.
So when you have a voice here, and this says, no, this had a voice, said the police is a thief. Yeah. No, say the police says I'm not a thief. The police have done this good.
Yeah.
You said, oh, you people contributed one way or the other in society to make it happen.
Yes.
So we're all working because the police are your family members as well.
Yes.
They're your friend.
Yes.
They're not your enemies. They're supposed to be your friend, even in the United States here.
There's
I tell people police are your family member because why? Is that it might be your fourth generation.
Yes.
And they have that guy that's a police. Yeah, so we're all one family.
Yes.
So we had to put our heads together to see how we can make it happen. And that's what we're doing now.
Well, you heard it here first at Business Authority Radio. I guess we would call this one International Business Authority Radio. We have a leader here that's doing some incredible things in the way of not only just business, because this is going to open up other employment opportunities as well.
Right.
But we have Jerry Wesley, this chairman and CEO of NPBS. You could look at the show notes to find more information. But America, you better get on it. We're being led. As long as we're being led, I don't have a problem where the help is coming from.
Right.
But we definitely need some change on the relationship with public servants and the community and public servants. And that does start with a change of mind and mindset. So it's our responsibility to make sure you are informed on progression in initiatives that the media is using to promote the good on both sides.
That's right.
Yeah.
You have a lot of Nigerians here.
Yes.
You have a lot of Nigerians in Canada.
Yeah.
In Europe, in UK. So one part of it to bring the continent together.
Yes.
And the people together. You have, when you say, people say, oh, Black Americans. But I call them African Americans.
Yes.
But these are your brothers. And a lot of them want to go back to Africa to see how is Africa like.
Yeah.
And if you don't keep it safe, how they want to come back home and say, I want to come back home to see how this continent is like.
That's powerful.
Why is it like this? All I've been reading, I've been hearing about it. So I put up this platform of media for them to say, okay, I feel safe. And that's why we're talking about later on coming up on a show, a kind of a celebrity show bringing the world together.
Yes.
That you put African celebrity show between the Africans, the Americans, and the Russian, whoever, and put it together.
Bridging the gap
and make it happen together and say, wow. And that's going to be something wonderful for the world to look at.
Well, you mark this day. We're not going to say what this particular day is, but the listener can look at their calendar after listening to this conversation and know that history has been made on this day. Thank you so much, Jerry Wesley.
Thank you.
And look forward to this work, this global work that you're doing.
Thank you very much.
You've been listening to Business Authority Radio with Neil Howe and Greg Williams. To learn more about the resources mentioned in today's show or to listen to past episodes, visit businessauthorityradio.com.